Welcome to the Alliance Open podcast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alliance Open podcast, second episode. My name is Stefan and I am here with two legendary men, Vice No Ice. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello.
And Michel, I'm just going to call you the Green Hive Mind. I don't know. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Thank you.
So let's talk about what we're going to talk today. So we have a few things we'd like to discuss during this episode. There has been a release of a few new models. We've got some upcoming events we'd like to talk about. Mainly for the bigger part of this episode, we'd like to talk about No Surrender, the upcoming Alliance Open 40K event, the 30th of March. And after all that is said and done, I also have an interview with one of the organizers for the Ninth Age Warhammer Fantasy tournament that's coming. We discuss what the Ninth Age is, what the tournament is going to be like, and what you can expect, and all those kinds of good stuff. So with that being said, let's jump right into our first topic. Now, this week, I believe it was this week officially, the second wave of the Chaos models were revealed, which were Abaddon and a Chaos Marine. Guys, what else?
I think the full box set was also revealed. Like I think there were some models in there that weren't revealed yet. I'm not sure though. But that's all been.
Yeah,
that was before the weekend.
There has definitely been meme hype about the new Primaris Jump Marines with the autocannons.
Oh yeah. Did you see the picture with the barrel that hangs low?
Yeah.
Go, the
if you suffer
barrel.
from this, yeah.
It had problems staying up. Yeah. So that's it's a kind of Primaris Marine, much like the Aggressor, right? The Aggressor is the other jumping guy with the plasma
I thought
guns,
it was
right?
I thought it was actually gonna be an aggressor with, or not an aggressor, interceptor or inceptor. I think it's called.
Inceptor, right? All those names.
Yeah. But I thought it was gonna be an inceptor with a new gun, but instead they gave it an entirely new name, even though it looks exactly the same. I think just with a different gun.
Yeah. So people are kind of falling over the whole graph shoot thing.
However, all the loyalists and Imperium stuff aside, let's go to the good stuff. The new Chaos release, the new Abaddon model.
Yeah, that's true.
MG.
Yeah, that's a great model.
That one is great.
Yeah.
It's
been revealed in Warhammer communities. You can check it out there. Abaddon revealed, which he's a beast. He is. They have stayed true to the original pose of the model, which I like. Right, it's pretty much the same pose.
But it looks a bit like the pose of Gilliman.
Yeah.
And they're also kind of as big, I think, which is funny because Gilliman is a Primarch and Abaddon is just a master, a chapter master.
Yeah, well, he's like, even in the books, he's like this huge guy. They describe him as, for a Space Marine, he's really huge, and then put him in Terminator armor. And this is, of course, like special chaos.
He's blasted by the 4 Chaos Gods.
Exactly, he's supposed to be huge. But they actually have, if you go to the Warhammer community page where they revealed him, they have this side-by-side comparison of a guardsman, and then next to that is Chaos of a Space Marine, and then they put Abaddon's silhouette next to it, and he's indeed about as big as Gilliman is, which is fitting for somebody of his importance in the entire overall story. And let's be honest, the old model, he was kind of a little bit of a punk.
Of course. But
the old model was just horrendous.
But isn't it a bit like, I might be biased, but because I play Gilliman, of course. But isn't it weird that he's just as big as a Primarch? Like, shouldn't he be a little smaller?
Yeah, I don't know.
By all the Chaos Gods, how can your loyalist mind not comprehend this? He's blasted by all the Chaos Gods.
Yeah, okay, that's true, I guess. You have a point.
All right, and then there's that new Chaos Marine.
Yeah,
with
what's
the
that?
Terminator chain gun.
Yeah.
Now I hope the rules are going to be. We talked about it before. We're not going to talk about the rules or anything. We're not, but I hope the rules will slightly reflect how epic that model is.
It does look awesome, though. I mean,
It looks like a normal Space Marine to me, though, with like just a new weapon, right?
yeah, it's a new weapon. It's a standard Chaos Space Marine.
So I don't think they're gonna make it that much better than normal Space Marines. Like, sure, the weapon might be really good, but it's not like they're gonna give it toughness 5 or something. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Nah, they're not gonna do that. No.
well,
it's just
good times to be a KS player. Either way,
yeah.
new KS Marines. Those models really need an update.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
If those
Like,
models, if an entire army made of those models hits the table, it's gonna be awesome.
It's
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
gonna
that
look
that
cool.
ultimate Doom army, and for me, that's the only trigger I need, to uncommit.
Sorry.
To shut up and take my money.
To not buy. Yeah, exactly. To not spend any money on 40K this month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm screwed.
But wait, so you're gonna ditch the orcs again, or
Dude.
you're gonna do
No.
both? No, exactly.
No, I'm gonna do both.
Of course you do both. There's no option.
Yeah,
always
once
do
you're an
both.
orc player, Feist, you're going to be an orc player for life.
That's true.
Yeah, is that what it's like?
That's very much
Yeah.
true.
Is it like a cult or something?
It's just
No,
it's so much fun you don't want to do anything else.
No, exactly. Orcs is still it's the most fun army I've ever played, and it's also going to stay that way for sure. It's like Reese in one of the Frontline Gaming podcasts. He said, for orc players, once you start playing orcs, you might also play other stuff, but you're going to be an orc player for life.
Yep.
That's very much
okay, fair.
It's the green core.
Yeah.
So awesome models for people that play Chaos or would like to, start playing Chaos. And awesome
But
times.
talking of new things, I had a chat the other day with CJ from Alliance Open.
Yeah.
And he was working on a new Alliance Open terrain set.
Yeah.
And it's actually a set. It's an industrial factory set that's going to combine with the Sprylo set, or at least you can combine it perfectly with the Sprylo set. So everything matches.
Oh, that's really cool, though.
But that set, it's awesome. It's modular, so you can either showed me some image and we talked about it. You can combine it to make a large building, or you can block off. I have them, but of course I can't show them on the podcast. Or you can combine them in loose sections, and I think that with that set, it's going to be for a tournament play, or even for a casual game. It's going to be one of the best terrain sets in terms of game functionality out there at this point. It's really that awesome. I was
so it's
so
completely
excited
modular
when I
then.
saw it. Yeah, it's the modular aspect was just being able to combine proper line of sight blocking in that set, and interaction, being able to change the table, and still you have some large section, so that it's not just a bowling ball that you're shooting over. Like a lot of the scenic tables, they look great.
Yeah, Planet Bowling Ball.
But for line of sight purposes in 8th edition, it almost does nothing, because you can still see everything, and it's nothing's even getting a cover save. So that set is awesome. He sent me one of the pictures. It was one of the factory sides with a railing, and then there was a door in. So naturally, I had to edit the picture. I put an orc skull in there, and I sent him back, told him that he made a mistake.
Of course. That's common sense.
Yeah, that's common sense. He laughed and he admitted his mistakes. But that terrain set, it's still work in progress. But when it's coming out, it's going to come out soon. It's awesome.
Yeah, so definitely save up some money for that. For those people that are interested in buying our terrain.
Yeah, if you have your own gaming table at home or somewhere else, you really want to take a look at that. That's going to be one epic set.
Yeah, so you can go to the alliancearmory.net for that, where we have our online store. We can buy all kinds of terrain and other things. We have billboards, terrain, movement trays, stuff like that. All things awesome and handy when it comes to playing your games of Warhammer 40k.
And CJ doesn't even know, or any of the Alliance Open guys, that we're gonna give them this terrain plug. But that's the sponsor package where they're sending me one of those terrain sets for free. It's welcome. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Exactly. So moving on from that, let's go to the upcoming events. So the first one coming up, the 10th of March, which you two will be attending, is the Feast of Blades. So, Vice, tell us what's the Feast of Blades going to be like?
It's gonna be a 2,000 point, kind of standard singles tournament. I think there's gonna be 32 players attending. It's gonna use the AO rule set that I think it's the one that they used for that they're gonna use for their upcoming events as well with ITC missions. So it's also gonna be 2,000 points, and there's gonna be a bunch of really great players. Now the fun thing is that the winner of the tournament will get a free Alliance Open GT ticket. This is something the Alliance Open has thought of to stimulate more tournaments in the Dutch scene, just so not just from them but also from other gaming groups to organize their own. So that's gonna be pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. So
that's awesome that the Alliance Open. It's kind of like a symbiotic relation, wherein tournaments that would like to attract more players. It can do this thing where the first place winner gets a ticket for the GT, which might improve interest for their tournament, and the other side of it is, of course, we get a little bit more coverage as the Alliance Open, and people will come to our tournament.
Exactly.
It works for everybody. I think that is a great thing to do, to involve each other and make it more one whole, one community, which is a very positive thing. Now it's going to be a sort of training tournament for the No Surrender. Is that correct, Michel? Is that?
It's in a way that what the Alliance Open guys have done is that they've combined traditional 40k missions, and with traditional I mean a bit in the ETC style, and they've combined ITC scoring in that. So that's interesting because this will impact building your army list. It impacted quite a lot. And I think that it's a good course that they're taking, because the more it forces players to think about actually playing missions and playing the game, and about how an army interacts, the more interesting the games will become. And it's not just that when you make a list that's able to table the other guy, you can just ignore everything else, go for that quick tabling and be done with it. So that's really good. And then for me, it's in Eindhoven, which is quite a short drive for me to a tournament, because usually I have to drive 200 plus kilometers to go somewhere, and now it's only 70 kilometers.
Yeah, because it's usually in Amsterdam, right? And then you're all the way from the other side. Yeah,
I'm all the way from the other side of the Netherlands, so I'm really thankful for that. No, but Ruud Steenbakkels is organizing that, and it's also good to attract some more players from the south that haven't made the trip to Amsterdam. It would be good. Definitely. So, and of course, Alliance Open is going to support the event with some of their scenery and everything. So helping the community grow. It's good for everybody.
Yeah, they're really doing a good job doing that, making the community grow. Because every time I go to a tournament, there's new people there, and I just wonder where they all came from and where they were the past few years.
Where were these people?
Yeah,
and who is Vice?
I mean, I'm new to the tournament scene as well, so or at least rather new. Yeah. But that's also because of the AO. But that's back when they were still the generals, I think.
It's kind of it's kind of a jump start.
So that's Feast of Blade, 10th of March. It's already booked out, the tournament. So anybody still looking for a ticket, try the reserves lists. There might always be some drop-offs, but it's 10th of March this Sunday. So it'll be tricky. Then next up, 30th of March, we have No Surrender. Alliance Open in Amsterdam.
Yeah. At the Van der Valk Hotel once again.
Yep, next AO.
It's going to be it's going to be a one-day tournament, 3 rounds, 715 points. We'll get into the details later. It's going to be with a great lunch buffet again. This time again in the restaurant part of the hotel, which is a vast improvement.
The lunch was already great, but the last event when they did it upstairs, it was
even
just
better.
It was next to the kitchen, so they were just replenishing everything. Everything was fresh.
And also you get more variety, even more. There was already a lot, but now there was just they had everything.
Like 10 different types of salads. Like nobody eats salad at a 40K tournament. We know, but still, it was there.
I ate salads. I ate fish and salads. So not no one. There's me, and the less people eat salads, the more choice I have. So by all means. Yeah. We also have at the same day, at the same location, the Age of Sigmar match play. It's a 2K tournament, 3 rounds as well. And we also have the Age of Sigmar Underworlds tournament going on, which is the skirmish Underworlds game, which is going to be great fun as well. And that's all in one hall. So it's nice and packed, but still enough space so you can move around very easily. We always have lots of space. But, you can come there, play a game, check out the other games, talk to a lot of people.
30th of March. It's gonna be an epic day again.
Yeah.
Wargaming in Amsterdam.
Yep.
So what kind of event is it going to be? Because it's not going to be a 2K point event, right?
No, it's going to be different, but we're going to go back to that later because next up on our events calendar on the 14th of April, also in Amsterdam, the Amsterdam Battle Brothers. It's a club I've attended their last tournament, and those guys are so relaxed and so friendly. Like coming somewhere for the first time, you just really felt welcome as a new kid in the class coming in there. It was really nice. The atmosphere was epic. Some great games.
That was in the little clubhouse, right? In the middle of the middle of the square.
It was. Yeah. It's a small clubhouse. It's in between some apartment blocks. And I actually had to, the first time I had to look around for 50 minutes just to find it because I thought I was lost.
Yeah, same.
But apparently I wasn't.
Now, you say you came there and it was like a new kid in a class. So basically you're saying everyone's a tiny asshole.
No.
Well, everyone in the world is, right?
Everyone, yeah, sure. We're all tiny assholes. But kids more so tend to be huge assholes.
When you're a regular tournament player, when you go to a tournament, you usually have a quite reasonable group of people whom you already know. Now with Alliance Open getting very big, there's also a lot of people that you don't know. But it's then scary. I came to the Training Cages tournament, and there were like 3 or 4 other guys I knew, and all the other players were local players from that gaming club. Mm-hmm. They were all just really friendly, really open-minded.
Oh, there you go. And they're gonna.
Me and Ricardo, right? And then did you know Dick and Dino? Because they organized it, I think, right?
No, I got to meet Dick and Dino a short while before the tournament. I got to know them. We had some chats. Then I played Dino the first game at the tournament. We had a really great game, and he had really that good mentality where he was like he just wanted to pick up everything positive he could from playing somebody new. Getting to know a new player, getting to experience how somebody who's not from your club plays the game differently. So that was really great.
I can personally attest to Dino being a great guy because I played him at the Breda Strikeforce tournament last year.
Yeah.
And he was there and played the game. I brought a boat, like a very casual orc army. Just it was a Stompa and 90 Storm Boys. I did absolutely horrible with it, but anyway, played him one round. He was very easy, very relaxed, very friendly, and really had a great game. So
Yeah,
great
and
guy.
that was also how I experienced those guys at Amsterdam. So really props up for them. They really did a good job, building that community, organizing some good events, making sure everybody enjoys their day. So that was great.
And that's, of course, at the end of the day, the most important part. Now they're doing the training cages the 14th of April,
Yeah.
which is a training tournament for the Alliance Open Allied Annihilation tournament that's coming up later on, which is a team tournament where teams of 4 people face off against other teams of 4 people, which is also a very different style of play. Never done it personally, but of course, people that go to ETC know what that's like.
For sure.
And so you can go there to the training cages again, 14th of April in Amsterdam, and get your toes wet before the big event at Lions Open later on.
Yeah,
So,
and if you're inexperienced, you definitely want to wet your toes before a big tournament. It's get some good games in and get some free experience.
exactly. So that were the upcoming events. Let's go on to our next part, which is the Alliance Open No Surrender Tournament, which is coming up. Got a lot to talk about because a lot of things we're doing different with that tournament. People who come to our tournaments for the 40K tournaments are used to displaying 2K games with 3 missions with a Maelstrom and Eternal War part, and that's in a gist the tournament. But we're doing things a bit different. For instance, starting with the rules pack for the tournament, one of the noteworthy things is we've kind of slimmed down from 2K to 750 points. Now that might not seem very
1,750 points.
Yes, 1,700. I did what I say, 750.
Yeah.
That's no, I misspoke. So it's going to be 1,750 points. It might not sound very significant, but it kind of is.
It's really significant.
Can you guys elaborate a little bit?
Yeah. So this is the event. I'm almost as excited for No Surrender as I am for going to the ETC, to the European Team Championships.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a
because
big statement.
Yeah,
that's a
bold.
big statement. But let me tell you why. Now, it's not because of the 1,750 points, though I really like that. It's because in this event, they said you can not only bring one codex, but you can only bring one faction on the keyword level. So if you're playing an orc army and you pick one clan, all the units in your army have to be that clan.
Really?
Yeah. Or if you're bringing like Space Marines or Imperial Guard or whatever, you can only, if you're bringing Catashans, your entire army has to be Catashans or Cadians. So that impacts the game a lot.
Yeah, it does quite a lot. It does quite a lot. Because I like it that way, because otherwise orcs would have such a big advantage over every other army, right?
No,
Well,
not just orcs, but it's so for me this feels like when you're playing a book, that book has its strong points and it has its flaws. Things it struggles with, and the trick is in being able to, with only that book, overcome that. But then the more books you get to take, or the more things you get to combine, then you get to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things I really like about this. Me personally, I really like the style of play where you play a codex, right? You picked an army, you're going to play that army, and an army in it has weaknesses and it has strengths, and that's in my opinion, the way it should be, and makes for a very fun game because you're going to have to learn how to overcome your weaknesses and play to your strengths. But most tournaments will allow souping, which means that you can play your army and then recognize its weakness and then fill that part in with another army which you ally with, and then all of a sudden your army doesn't have any weaknesses anymore, or way less than it used to have, and it takes away the part of playing your army, getting to know it, getting to learn about your army.
Exactly. Now you have to overcome those flaws of your army or your faction by yourself, because for this event, I guarantee you, there's not going to be any net lists out there.
No, there can't be. There can't be.
Another thing they've said is that you can only take 3 flyers.
Which impacts it a lot, yeah. Because
everybody that watched the LBO final can agree that only being able to take 3 flyers is a good thing for the game.
Things got stupid.
Yeah.
Look, I recognize that it's a tournament, and the point of a tournament is to win. So of course, you can't really blame someone for bringing a list like that guy did. I forget his name, but he brought all the flyers in the world.
Brandon Grant or something.
Yeah, and not blaming the guy, but it just looks so stupid that an army of flyers just flies around. It's not really. It doesn't appeal to my personal taste.
No, it's like you're not playing the same game anymore. And so all that said, that's why I'm really, really, really excited for that tournament.
Yeah, so it's going to be 150 points, which tones it down, which means the games will go a little bit quicker. And also, you're going to have to make cuts in your army, so you're going to have to think about that, like how will my army look like at the 1750 points level. It does make a difference. It's going to be also the mono faction thing with the mono keyword, as we discussed, which is probably the biggest impact on the.
Now, for those people who haven't seen the rules pack and whom are wondering, if you have a unit in your codex that doesn't break your faction benefits, if you include it. For instance, with Dark Elder, you have the Incubi, and you can take them in any detachment, and they don't break that detachment. Like you can take them in a Witch Cult, you can take them in a Cabal, or you can even take Incubi.
Do they still get the benefits or no?
No, they don't. They don't get benefits, but they also don't break it. So you can always include those units. For orcs, that will be units with the Flash Git keywords.
Or maybe assassins.
So with assassins, what they've said is that if you include them with this new stratagem, that you can take them. So Imperium players, as usual, get a bit of the souping benefit, and that they can just leave those 85 points out of their list and just say, I'm going to take whatever assassin I want. But it's still better than the regular soup, so I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's never going to be 100% perfect, right? But this is a lot better, and I think this will make for this format of a game will make for a very popular tournament. I think this will be. I'm predicting this will be one of the more popular tournaments that we have. So, and there's also the thing we wanted to mention is with the new missions from. The latest FAQ, not the FAQ Vigilus, right, with the new mission style, which means that the whole thing of rolling off who deploys first, and whoever deploys first also gets to choose who goes first. So that's kind of a throwback to the old style of play, which Games Workshop has gone back to. We will be doing that during the No Surrender as well. Don't know personally what I feel about that. I don't think it's as strategic. You don't have the whole strategic deploying where you deploy a unit and then your opponent goes then I'm going to put that here.
I'm going to be honest.
It's actually
I hate it.
better.
No, I don't think so.
No, it is, because now if you want to go first, okay, you have to deploy your entire army first, and then that other guy, especially if the terrain is good, he can just deploy completely into that, and then with the prepared positions strategy and bolster himself even more, and all of a sudden going first isn't that big in the game. So I like it.
See, I don't know. See, yeah, there's that. I agree with you that of going second means you get the advantage of knowing your
Exactly.
opponent's deployment. But
Before
there's
you make
also
your first drop, you know that you're going second.
yeah, but
Unless the other guy gives you the first turn. But,
exactly. There's also the power of being able to give away first turn because if you see that you've been out deployed, now you can just go, well, you have first turn then. So that
Yeah,
takes
which I've done quite a bit of games because I play Eldar and Harlequins, right, which is a really fast army. So all I have to do is deploy all the way in the back, and my opponent usually cannot do anything, but I can. So it's stupid for them, right? It's just it doesn't add tactics to
well,
the
it has
deploying, and
it
it's the
adds.
same with the it adds.
I was going to say it adds tactics, but it also takes away. So I think my issue with it personally is it gives a little bit too much tactical advantage to the player deploying first, as he can also just say, well, to his opponent, well, you go first now,
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden, he's able to go second, which is. As Michel mentioned as well, and you just said so as well, that going second really is actually usually better than going first. And also, then of course, he can now activate the strategy where the prepared position thing. So it's kind of I'm not 100% sure yet how I feel exactly about it, but I tend to lean to the side of not liking this one. But
yeah.
I think you need like 10 more games
yeah,
with this,
yeah,
and then you're going to love it.
exactly.
No, I've played a
Well,
lot of games with
maybe.
this, but I still don't like it.
Well, I
I
mean,
think
and opinions can be divided, right?
yeah,
Of
of
course.
course.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of the best adjustments going from 7th into 8th was the deploying, one by one. And now they've removed it, and I just no, don't like it.
Well,
But
that's fine.
yeah, opinions are opinions. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
true.
and yeah, that's just fine. We've got other tournaments where we don't have that, so
Yeah, yeah,
there's something for everyone. So
yeah,
let's
exactly.
that's pretty much the things we wanted to mention about the rules pack. We are going to go into the ITC points style of play a little bit later on, but first let's talk a little bit about the in-game impact of this rules pack then, because with a rules pack like this, you're gonna have to change your army a little bit. So army building is going to be different from, let's say, playing a 2K tournament where you have Maelstrom and not Monofaction and Eternal War and all those things. So what do you think? I'll ask Michel first. What do you think the impact of this is going to be into your army building?
Well, first of all, it's going to throw players off their guard a bit because they're taking a plunge in the unknown. There are no past events in this format. Not in 1750 and not in the mono faction
Yeah, definitely in the Netherlands.
restriction. Definitely in the Netherlands, but
No, I think the heats are
most events don't have that. So
no, but the G Dub heats have 1750 points. Right?
yeah, but it's still like every player that runs a list with a knight, all of a sudden they're going to lose that knight, or they're just going to play with knights.
True.
So that's going to be big. Or those guard players that have like the Custodes support or the Blood Angel Captain support, all of a sudden, and that drops. And then scoring in the missions is also a bit different because the primary of the mission, every game is going to be is going to have the same primary. So it's easy to get into that. It's just you score 1 point for every objective marker that you control at the end of your player turn, up to a maximum of 15 points in the game. And then you just draw up to 3 Maelstrom cards. And you can score a maximum of 15 Maelstrom points in the game. So at one moment you're going to be out. There's not going to be any more scoring. And then the secondary, which is also interesting, is ITC, where you get to choose based on your opponent's army list before the game how you want to score or how you want to try to score for up to a maximum of 12 points.
Yes.
And
So there are a number of things you can choose there. For those of you aware are familiar with the ITC, for those of you that are not, it's basically a list of ways to score from which you can pick three things. For this secondary part, you can score a max total of 12 points, which usually you pick three, and for each of those three, you can usually score 4 points, or not usually, you can score 4 points. So if a few things to name, for example, you can pick Headhunter, which is score a point for each enemy character you destroy. You can do Marked for Death, where you choose 4 units of your opponents with a minimum power level of 7, and you score a point for each one of those units you destroy. There's Titan Slayer, where you get points for scoring, not killing, but inflicting wounds. So per 8 wounds on a unit with the Titanic keywords, you score a point. You've got Behind Enemy Lines. You've got Ground Control, which is hold objectives.
also Reapers. It's just that for every 20 models of the enemy's army that you kill, you score 1 point. So when you're facing that horde army, or when you're facing that player which has a lot of chaff, just pick that secondary and blast away. Those are usually easy kills, but also easy points.
Yep. So it allows you to very much adjust your playstyle to whatever opponent you're facing. Does he have hordes? Pick the Reaper. Does he have a lot of tanks or monstrous creatures? Pick Big Game Hunter. So there's always going to be the opportunity for you to score points, even if, for instance, your Maelstrom cards are failing.
You can always tailor the mission towards whatever you're facing.
Yep. Though it's curious to see that the ITC part does score you the least amount of points, 12, and the Maelstrom and control points, so the primary part, can score you 30 points. So there's a big shift in where you can actually score your points. But it's definitely I think an improvement of your flexibility on how to score points in the game. You are no longer very reliable on the Maelstrom cards, which can be very random and at certain points in the game just flat out impossible to score.
Well, it kind of feels like they're using ITC, the secondary ITC missions. They're using it the way they would use the tertiary missions in prior events, right?
Yeah,
So they've replaced Kingslayer and stuff and all that. So
yeah,
I guess that's why they're not giving as many points as the Maelstrom and the control points thingy, because it's practically a tertiary.
it's a bit.
Not really. Not really. The tertiary is gone, so it's only the primary and the secondary.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want that old tertiary, like it's one of the submissions to choose, but it's quite difficult to score all 4 points on that one, because you have to kill a unit in the first battle round, kill a unit in the last battle round with random game length. That's always difficult to predict. And then it's Linebreaker and Slay the Warlord, and you can only score 4 points there, but you have to do everything. So with some of there's some easy ones there, but there's also some tough ones there. So with some of the other secondary options out there, it's easier to say, okay, I'm going to be able to score those 12 points.
Yeah,
so this is definitely going to favor that player that prepares himself a little bit and says, I'm not just going to make a list, I'm going to think about these things, and before my games I've practiced this a bit and I'm going to know what I'm doing. Again, which has me so excited for this event, because it's more player based than it's army list based.
Yeah, I agree. It increases the emphasis on player skill, because you can be really effective at this if you are very much aware of what your army is capable of, and also if you can have that insight of what your opponent's army is capable of and how you're going to counter react to it. And this list makes it all the more flexible, which is always a very positive thing, if you ask me. But to go back to my original question, how does this all tailor into your army building? So what are thing what this mission format? What does that change the way you guys think on how you build your army, or do you just build your army and then go from there?
Well, to be honest, I had enough trouble kind of building an army already down to 1750 mono faction army, so I didn't take into account the missions as much. However, I do think that I have some really strong mission play with my army because it's really fast and flexible.
I mean, your elder.
I'm gonna
And-
play Harlequins.
Yeah, but I mean, even Harlequins, Elder in general have always been. I'm not bragging on Elder the way, but Elder have been an army that can do what it wants whenever it wants, pretty much.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And so they've always been able to play to missions very well.
Yeah.
So Misha, I think you usually play either Tyranids, and you've been playing a lot of Orcs lately.
Yes.
Do you think you're gonna bring another army now that you know the format of this tournament?
Yeah, for sure. I think that looking at certain choices, like power level 7 is one of the secondaries. However, orcs have a lot of cool options at power level 6. So not only are you going to be able to bring those units and bring a lot of units, but also deny your opponent on that. And then also because it's monofaction, like when you design a list to do well in the tournament, you always have to think about what the other top armies are. And 2 of those top armies are the Elder mix, and the other one is the Imperium mix. The blob with Smash Captains and the Knights and everything. And those 2 main adversaries of every list I had to write, they're gone.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys because I wasn't entirely clear, because the Eldar are powerful because they soup up, and they soup up under the Ynnari keyword. That's correct, right?
Yeah, or just
not necessarily.
Or just they combine several Elder elements, like some Harlequin, some Elder, and some Dark Elder for Vac.
But isn't there the still powerful Ynnari list, which is the I can't remember what her name is, the cat lady with and then you have a bunch of bikes, and then you have a bunch of flyers, and that's still under the keyword Ynnari. That one's still possible, right?
Not really the way it used to be, because you still have to pick a sub-faction for all your Inari units. So you cannot say, oh, because I play Inari, I can now take Inari Harlequins, Inari Elder, Inari Dark Elder, and do that. So it's just going to be an Inari detachment, which means that you're not going to have an Elder detachment. So you don't have access to those stratagems. Because you need that. So your faction keyword as Elder is going to be worthless. It does nothing for you. So the only thing that you have is very expensive Soul Burst. And you have less points to fill your list with. And Elder are always struggling for points. Because Elder are really powerful, but all Elder players will agree with me on this one, that even though Elder are that powerful, Elder players are always they always have to make some compromises in the things that they would like to bring to feel confident about their list. There's always this one thing, that I wish I could also include this or that, and then all of a sudden you have to do that with 250 points less. So it's not going to be easy for Elder players, but the really good Elder players are going to do well.
I think
the other Elder players are going to have to learn a lot about their books.
I think there's still gonna be 3 flyers in every Eldar list, right? I mean, it's not a problem to cut down like from 9 to 3. Like, it's still gonna be in every Eldar list, I think.
Yeah, but it's the other things that are going to hurt. Like 3 flyers is fine. If you want to play 750 points and bring 3 flyers, then you only have a few points left to do your other Elder things, and then you want your Warlock, you want your Farseer, you want possibly Eldrad, but then everything has to be Ultra. So that's not going to be
I don't think
easy
people.
again.
Yeah, I don't think people are gonna take Eldrod. I think your standard Eldar army would likely be a Farseer, Warlock, 3x5 Rangers, 3 Hemlocks, and then whatever else, or 3 Crimson Hunters.
Yeah, that's the base. Usually the
I
base
think
of
that's
the army
gonna be the
stays the
base.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
like that army still struggles. Like, think about that. You're bringing 3 Crimson Hunters, right? That's 630 points, and then you're bringing your HQs, which is another 200 points. So all of a sudden, there's not that many points left, and those 3 Crimson Hunters, they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good, but they're flimsy. If you overextend with your Crimson Hunters, they die. So either you have to stay back and do some damage with the rest of your army before it's safe to engage, which means that you only have 1,000 points to play with, or you send your Crimson Hunters in forward in the deep, they die, and all of a sudden you're basically in the last position because Elder don't take damage well. So it's
true.
Like it's not going to be that it's not going to be that point and click for the Elder players, especially the Elder players that don't realize this. They're going to face some nasty surprises, and maybe some other players are going to say, "Hey, I've had a really great game against Elder. I was able to deal with them quite well." So, yeah.
I mean,
there's gonna be quite some upsets, I think, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you guys think there will be other armies that will now rise to the top? I mean, I feel like Eldar will still do well. Maybe not as well as they would in 2K points, but that's just the way Eldar react to how the game is played. They do that very well.
I'm gonna call it right now. Gene Stealer cults. If anyone takes Gene Stealer cults, they're gonna do well, I think.
And why do you think that?
Not only do they still have the element of surprise of being a new codex, and not many players have played against it, they also have a shitload of tools at their disposal. But they also build really well mono decks. I think you can get really nice lists with just Gene Stealers, without really cutting anything that you would normally want, unless you want to take like Battle Brothers or something. But I think. And that combined with the fact that no one really knows what Gene Stealers do, and people know, but you know what I mean. And then also the element of surprise of the tourney being in a completely new setting, so with new missions and new armies. I don't know. I have a feeling.
Well, I think Gene Stealer cults, are definitely have that surprise factor, and I think they're really strong against Elder.
Yep, it's kind of the same thing as orcs.
Yeah, it's the same thing as orcs. I don't think that.
And then
Yeah, but I don't think that they're just going to auto win, because there's a lot of ITC elements where you can score points quite good against them. So they're going to be good. I think Mono Tyranids is also going to be really good.
Yeah, Kraken or something then.
Yeah, Mono Kraken list.
Yeah.
They just got one of the biggest buffs. I think Tau. Mono Tau is also going to be good.
Definitely. I think, to be honest, the funny thing is that when I think of every army, I think when it's mono, it can be good, right? If the player is good and the army is built correctly, then I think every army can do well, and I think we might see some surprises.
I mean,
that's why I said I was so excited for this tournament.
Yeah,
exactly. This.
There's definitely going to be some options. I mean, even at the LVO, a mono Space Marine, Ultramarine army ended up really high. I mean, you could see something like that, where just you face an army where Gilliman shows up with a butt ton of firepower. That list had like 3 what you call it, the floating, yeah,
3 repulsors and Gilliman. I've been thinking of a list like that, but never really tried it, and now I'm too late.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna play it now, everyone is gonna call me a filthy netlist player.
Yeah, you have that reputation, Vice. It follows you.
Exactly.
So, well, let's play some bets. That's a fun thing to do. So, Faiz, you say that the Gene Stealer Coach is going to take this one. Is that's your bet?
No.
Who do you think
I'm
is
gonna
going to take
say
this?
Harlequins are gonna take it.
Yeah,
But Gene Stealer Cults are gonna do well.
you're basically saying you're going to take the tournament.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
All right, then, bold statement, Cotton. Bold statement. We'll see how that pans out. So,
Yeah,
but okay. I mean, definitely, I think Harlequins is an army that can take it.
mhm.
I guess. Yeah.
I
'Cause
think they definitely can.
they play well on the mission, and it's going to be tough though. You're going to face some armies like the new. I do believe the new bolter rule is going to be in effect. So you're going to face a few certain armies that will just rip you to shreds. I think, or at least make it very hard on you.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the new Death Watch with the new bolter rule is kind of insane.
Yeah.
I've already seen some games where Death Watch team up with a knight, and hilarity ensues. This is just scumbag.
Yeah. However, not at this tournament.
Uh,
It's just going to be that watch. So they're going to do really
Yep.
well against infantry, and they're going to struggle against armor.
Yep.
Yep.
So they're
Yep.
going to have a weakness. Something we discussed is that every army should have a weakness. Not like they're, whenever something like a tank shows up, they go, well, good luck.
Yeah, one rhino guys, pack it
Yeah.
up.
I think you have some anti-armor, right? So
Yeah.
I want to, you know what? I want to see somebody take it with. It's completely ridiculous. I'm not going to win this bet, but I just want it to happen. I want Sisters of Battle to take this one.
they are possible. I mean,
Sisters of Battle
they were
are
pretty
really good.
strong. Yeah, they were a really strong army.
Because I think
think
they're
they're-
kind of like the Death Watch, where they have a lot of bolter shots, because they can field like sister units that aren't really expensive, like 100 points or so. And you get 5 sisters with what like 2 or 3 storm bolters and just 2 other bolters in it. You just place them, spread them out on the field, and all of a sudden they're just really putting out a lot of firepower. I mean,
thing with-
they are toughness 3, but they are in cover. They are 2 up armor space marine sisters that just shoot everything to
Yeah,
shreds.
and you can create this bubble where everything in the bubble has a 4 invulnerable save.
Yep.
So
Yep.
all of a sudden those sisters are really, really tough.
No, I think the
So-
sisters do have the tools to take this one, because they have the anti-horde, but they definitely also have the anti-armor. I mean, they're those church organ tanks, man. I forget the name, but they got cheaper in
The
points.
Exorcist.
Yeah, the exorcists. I mean, holy shoot. Those things shoot a lot of Deca, and they are very cheap, and they can have the 4-up invul. It's very powerful.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you get rid of those when you're playing against them. And it's going to be tough. Like
Yeah, the
a
toughness
4-up
8.
a 4-up invulnerable save is one of the most frustrating things to face, because basically your opponent is flipping a coin every time you do something.
Yeah.
And it's either heads or tails. And every time you have that big shot coming in, he's going to make that save.
Yep.
So yeah, those things are definitely going to demoralize some opponents.
Yeah. 50% of the time, it works all the time.
Yeah, 50% of the time it works all the time.
Yeah, I definitely think they can take it. I'm just a little skeptical because I know there aren't a lot of people that play sisters. I personally only know one guy. And no, I know 2 guys who have sisters, but there's
Yeah,
not
I
a lot
was-
of sisters players yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because they have models that are metal, right? And everyone avoids metal like hell. Their models are also really expensive. And no one really wants to buy a full army when they know that in half a year they can get a full Plastic Sisters army, right?
Yeah,
So
This is definitely holding players back from picking up
Yeah.
the Sisters army now. I've also seen players who just use the Sisters of Silence models. They've converted
Yeah.
them a bit and then play them as Sisters of Battle.
yeah, but that's a lot of work as well, right? I think what's currently holding Sisters back is mainly that they're just hard to get by, right? So
Yeah. Like
I think-
imagine that list with 100 or 120 Sisters of Battle in that.
Yeah.
That army is scary, and that army takes you a second mortgage on your house just to afford it.
Exactly. And if you buy it with the Sisters of Silence, then you're gonna have to do a fuck ton of converting, right? Because it's just so I think that's the main reason why you don't see that many sisters at the moment. I think their army is great, but it's just it's annoying to play.
Yeah, it's a horde army, right? And
Yeah.
It's a horde army.
They really are, because I've seen a few lists floating around and a few battles being played, and right now the current most meta style of list is where you just feel that a lot of sisters just run up and occupy buildings and just shoot a lot. Yeah,
And have a 4-up info.
4-up info. I mean, the toughness 3, but they have a 2-up armor save, right then, and the 4-up info, and you have these things where you can resurrect a few here and there. It's secretly a very tough army that's very hard to deal with.
I'm also interested. There's some guard players out there, like for instance Ricardo. Ricardo Barantius,
Variantos Reis,
who plays guard. He had a lot of mixed lists, but I'm kind of curious what they are bringing to this event, because I think that mono guard can also really surprise a lot of players. Even mono guard lists with like strong combat elements in them. I think that if you're like with Catashans and Bullgrims in there. Exactly.
And a few of those flyers are secretly very good as well.
So Stefan, I mean Misha, what are you taking then to the?
I'm taking orcs.
Well, before we get to that, I do want to ask Misha, what do you think? Which army is going to take first place at the No Surrender? Your bet.
Well,
place your bet.
Well, place my bet. I kind of.
And you can nominate yourself, just like Fight.
Just say Harlequins. Just say Harlequins. You know it.
No, Harlequins is not going to do that, and especially if they allow first round challenges with no penalties.
I'm gonna decline every challenge.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm gonna challenge some Fluff Bunny in the first round if they do that. No, I'm not. It's just a joke.
No,
I would like a rematch. Actually.
Yeah, maybe I would love it at No Surrender. I would absolutely love it.
Okay.
But no, it's difficult. I think that some tournament lists can be really good at the No Surrender format. Imperium list as well. I think this is one of those events that's totally unpredictable.
Yep, I agree.
Because everybody has to make concessions with their army. And everybody is going to be surprised in what they're facing. So this is really tough. I think that Pelicans are going to struggle a bit.
What we haven't talked about?
What?
Drukhari, dude. They do great on 2K mono decks. So why not that 1750 mono deck?
Oh, Drukhari are going to be awesome.
Exactly.
But they were already good as a mono army. You just didn't see it because Soup was even better. But Drukhari itself is very good still.
Yeah. So now that I think of it, I think Drukhari might take it actually.
So you're gonna take it back?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say Drukhari, man.
So I'm going to say something really cheesy. I'm going to say that everybody that's going to play at this tournament is going to be the winner. It's going to be that good.
Oh man.
Please, dude. Oh
jeez.
My God.
Yeah, but I stand by this.
Way to get all Care Bear about it.
Yeah, you should become a Hollywood writer, man. What the fuck?
And in the end, we all held hands and hugged.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end, you're all going to get it. No, but
pick an army. Do it. Just say it off the top of your head.
I'm going to say orcs.
All right, good pick. Why?
Well, I'm going to say a lot of boys, a lot of tractor cannons,
a lot of toys. Yeah, I think orcs again are also a very good mono because they can't soup up, but they're a very good mono Dex army. You are gonna have to make a few concessions on what clan you're going to play, though, because you can't do the mix now. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be either Dead Skulls or Bad Moons.
yeah, well,
I think that like usually you take some Speed Freaks for the easy charging war boss.
yep.
But I just think that the Dead Skulls or the Bad Moons benefits, depending on what kind of list you're trying to make, they're just going to, they're just going to outweigh that +1 on the charge.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I wouldn't pick Evil Sons. I think if anything, I would pick Bad Moons. The question is,
Yeah.
are you going to rely on Ludas or no? If the answer is yes, you are definitely going to pick Bad Moons, in my opinion. If the answer is no, not so much, you might pick another clan.
Well, think about it like this: if you have a lot of command points and you take a Big Mac with a Vigilus Dreadwa souped up Shaka,
Yep.
who is also a Bad Moon, then this is going to cost you 6 command points. But you can make that model shoot 3 times in the shooting phase.
Oh, you actually
with more
can't.
Daka Daka.
No, you can't.
Why
Because
not?
the Vigilus Stratagem says, is it the Vigilus Stratagem one? Yeah, no, I believe they both say you can fire a unit a second time. So that means you can't fire it a third time. If you, I believe they both say allow this unit to to fire a second time.
Then I would probably still go Bad Moons and just that first turn or that turn you need it. Just burn those CPs and make 2 units shoot twice.
Yeah, they could, but I mean, you could do like you said, shoot the shock attack gun twice, which is horrific, and shoot the Ludus twice, which we all know is insane.
Yeah, so that's going to give a lot of output.
Yeah.
However,
So
I'm probably not going to bring any Ludus to this event.
Interesting. You're gonna do your buggies, and then what are you gonna bring for anti-tank then?
Well, one of the best anti-tank units I've had
is the shock attack.
Apart from the shock attack gun, which is really good at anti-tank. It's a Dead Skulls Death Dread with 2 custom Mega Blasters.
Yeah, that's all you need, really.
That's all you need.
Yeah, so I'm a Crow. I was quickly checking it. So the Vigilus one, as does showing off, both say shoot a second time. So you can't do that.
Yeah, you cannot shoot them. Okay, this is actually good. I hadn't looked into that that much, but it's good that you can shoot them 3 times. But still,
they kind of thought about it.
Even a Morkanaut or a Gorkanaut.
Yeah, very good.
Double shooting.
Well, you could do a Stomper and shoot it twice. Which is it's fun.
Make the Stomper shoot twice.
Yeah, there you go. So orcs are gonna take it. All right, we'll see. I don't think I'm gonna be right, though. I really want to be right. I think Sisters is really cool. If I had to choose among the 3 we bet, I would say Drukhari and orcs are.
Yeah, Drukhari are also going to be like those mono Drukhari players. The players that have been playing Drukhari for a long time, they're usually really good players because Drukhari have always been kind of a lower tier army. And then especially having to adapt to a lot of things, they're going to be well at that. So yeah, who knows? I might even paint my Drukhari army up for that one and leave the orcs at home.
Really?
Well, you just gotta wait and see, Five.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Michel has every army. I believe he is secretly like a place where Games Workshop stores part of their inventory. That's what I believe, and therefore he can play any army he wants.
Yeah. Or he's just got money.
Yeah, probably both.
He's got money
I'm not going to comment on any of that.
Okay, well, I mean, I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover pretty nicely. Is there anything you guys want to talk about still, or?
Yeah, I want to talk about the list that he's taking.
The Drukhari list.
Yeah. Like, what is he taking? Is it gonna be Talos and Grotesques, or is it gonna be Venoms and
Well, you can do both.
Yeah, you could do
Yeah,
a
I
few
guess.
Talos, and then if
You can take both the Taloi and you can take the Venoms, because with at the mode of faction with the Drukhari, you can take each sub faction. Like you can take one detachment of Cabal, one detachment of Witch Cult, or you can take one Cabal, and so you can take two of those three. But we all know which two it's going to be. So it's going to be one Homunculi detachment and one Cabal detachment.
yeah.
That's
The witches are staying home.
Now I'm going to stream, so I'm not going to bring an army. But
Oh, really? There's gonna be a stream again?
yeah, there's going to be a no surrender stream for sure.
Yeah.
So
Round one, it's
yeah.
going to be Vice versus Michel.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that would be
Vice
actually
is
be
not a
cool. That would
chicken.
be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool though.
you
Right?
can go ahead and challenge each other. We can
Or
we
could
can
we-
definitely make that happen.
Yeah, can we get on stream?
If Alliance Open gives no penalties for the first round challenge, which I think they should allow first round challenges. I'm going to say it right here. I will challenge Vice first
Yeah,
round.
I'm gonna say that probably isn't going to happen. I've talked to the guys about this about the challenge part, and they definitely feel that challenging someone without any penalty of points is just it's too much of an advantage, because you could, in theory, do a lot of things which aren't very sportsmanlike. You can challenge someone whom you know you'd win.
Yeah, but like think about that. You would challenge someone who you know that you're going to beat them. So you're going to take 20-0. And then you're going to be paired against those other 20-0 players.
Well, not even that. You could challenge someone, be in cahoots with each other, and say, "Look, I'm going to win 15-5 or something like that." You could even do that.
But then you're probably not going to be able to win the tournament anymore. I don't.
You could start with the
impacts
perfect
that
first round
much.
score. That's what you can do.
What,
I mean,
90?
it's far out there. I don't see how anyone would do this because
No, I also don't think anyone would do. And I
no,
think that
but look,
those players that take that easy 20-0, that maybe aren't strong enough to just take a 20-0 first round
could be.
with a normal pairing. They're going to be thrown so deep out there against those other high level players that they're just going to take 20-0 the first round and 0-20 the second round. And that was that plan.
Yeah, well, it could be, but still, the option for you to do so is there, and I agree with them that's not a very healthy thing to do to your tournament. I mean, if you're going to challenge someone, you are probably by definition not really caring about how many points you score during the tournament. You're there to play against someone whom you know you're going to have a good time against.
But
And
can you imagine beating Vice and winning the tournament? That's like the perfect day. And I think Vice thinks the same about that. Like beating me and then winning the tournament.
That'd be so
so
awesome.
happy.
the bragging rights.
Yeah, just the brag, or just the shame. Just like I will be walking through my city and just some random stranger. Hey, you're the guy who lost to Vice. Oh
No.
damn!
They know me. Oh no. I've seen it on stream.
Yeah, the cashew guy. He got you good, man.
Oh, but Michel,
you got cashews.
Michel,
just-
even if we don't challenge each other, right? We're gonna meet each other in the finals anyway, right? Like,
Well, it depends. I mean, Ruud is there, and Justin is there. They're both going to kick your ass.
nah. Justin has never kicked my ass before. Ruud, yes, I admit.
When Justin drank that ice in England, he kicked your ass.
Okay, fair enough. But it gave me the coolest nickname ever, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I love it.
Ice, no ice nickname.
Yeah,
All right, well,
Real
let's
ice.
let's
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, you guys. So, closing statements I'd like to make is, well, I already mentioned no surrender is going to be streamed. So if you didn't get a ticket, that's a shame. But you can always look. You can always watch the tournament at our Twitch channel, which is Alliance Open. We'll be streaming the entire event, 3 games. We will be providing cool commentary, me me and Jonathan will stream the games, provide commentary, and make the game a little more insightful. It's not just you gonna be looking at two guys playing with no audio. You'll have player audio, and then we'll cut in between each round and keep you guys up to date on what's what. Beyond the tournaments we already mentioned, actually for Age of Sigmar Underworlds, there are still tickets available. Likewise for the Age of Sigmar Match Play tournament, No Surrender is already sold out. Those things already go very fast. I mean, after that, we have the Allied Annihilation tournament, which already sold out in, by the way, 2 hours, which I did want to mention. That was our first tournament ever. We sold out in 2 hours.
That's epic.
Yeah,
that's
that went
amazing.
really fast. Actually, Michel, I bought not the last one ticket, but the second last ticket I bought. So we're lucky to be in the tournament, and yeah,
Really?
yeah, and that's very great. That just shows you how enthusiastic people are.
That's the you lose for sure.
Yeah. So for Age of Sigmar Underworld and Age of Sigmar Match Play, if you guys want to play, definitely go check out. You can find a link to the site for our tickets. The actual site itself, again, is Alliance Armory. You go to events, and there you can buy the tickets. You can go to our Facebook page, Alliance Open, where you'll find links to the ticket page, and also you can find the rules packs and keep up to date with
what
other stuff.
I would be curious about? If they could stream 1 or 2 games of the Age of Sigmar Match Play.
Yeah, that's I don't want to spoil it too much, but that's definitely something we've got in the works, looking towards. Of course, I'm only one guy, and I can do one stream at a time. But we're definitely looking for expanding to other game systems, because Age of Underworld is something that's also very popular and also very fun to watch, actually. So definitely in the future, I'd say there's that's coming. That's all I wanted to say. Any last statements from you guys?
No, you basically said it all.
No, you said it all, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, with
that, I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast.
Exactly. And this is the end of our segment, but of course, after this, I've got the interview with one of the organizers for the 9th Age. So you guys listening, stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for participating once again. It's been my pleasure. And,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
And I'll talk to you guys after the tournament. We can talk about the actual results and whether our bets are correct or we lost.
Yeah, and in between that, we still have the Feast of Blades to recap on, which also could be interesting.
We can definitely recap on that. So definitely next, not next podcast, probably the one after that will be a recap of those tournaments. But we will definitely recap on them because I think that's very interesting to look at. So with that being
that
said,
would be cool. Yeah.
With that being said, you guys definitely tune in next time, and we'll see each other then.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah, see you, man. See you.
Okay, welcome everybody to the 9th Age segment of our podcast. I am here with Joris. Hello, Joris. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Good to be here.
Yes, well, we were going to have a talk with you and Harm. Harm was unfortunately delayed and couldn't make it. That's okay. I'm sure we'll be fine with just you and me.
Yeah.
So you and Harm are the organizers for the 9th Age tournament that's coming up in May the 25th. May the 25th be with you. Haha. And it's going to be a 2-day tournament. Now, the 9th Age, for the people listening at home, could you tell me what the 9th Age is?
Yeah, of course. A little bit on the organization, because you mentioned me and Harm.
Mm-hmm.
Reinier and Jan Willem, also known as Blonde Bear, they're also part of the organization. But this event this year, because we have another event coming at the end, Harm and me will do. So actually the organization is a little bit bigger. The 9th Age. And by the way, I hope Harm is doing something that's really worthwhile, because he has to have a good excuse.
Well,
with the 9th Age, I have actually in front of me a little piece of text that they wrote on their website. It's a lot of information. But basically, it's a few guys that started the Ninth Age at June the 30th, 2015, and it was mainly after the big end times debacle towards Age of Sigmar, where Games Workshop basically said we're moving from rank and file blocks to a more free skirmish type of game, which is absolutely fine. But there were a few guys who said, okay, we want to play the rank and file game. And we can keep playing 8th edition. But instead of playing 8th edition, they said, well, we also have a little bit of, we see some room for tweaks and adjustments and a little bit of different mechanics they thought that could be enhanced, and they worked on that a lot. And a whole lot of people joined them in the process.
Okay, so it's actually, before we continue, I'm going to have to put in a little disclaimer. My downstairs neighbors are doing a little construction work, so I don't know if you guys are picking it up, but if you are, I apologize for the inconvenience. So moving on from that, so the Ninth Age is actually old fantasy, right before Games Workshop switched over to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, it's a whole fantasy game. It's basically, it has their own fantasy world they created. They're still in the process of building it. And yeah, they say that the spiritual father is the 8th edition of Warhammer. So it's fantasy. It's not future. There are no space marines.
Yeah.
It's sword and axes and big claws.
Sword and sorcery. Actually,
Yeah.
now I nowadays mainly play 40k, but I actually started my roots back in the day when I was, I think, 14 with fantasy. So my first ever army. Yeah.
Of course.
And that was my jam at the time. And my first army was orcs and goblins.
Nice.
I remember squabbling a lot, my army not doing what I wanted a lot. Fanatics, giants toppling over on my own army.
Animosity.
Animosity, and casting the Foot of Gork to my much to my enemy's chagrin. I used to play. Quick little story. I used to play at a local club, and a good friend, Rick, who was played as well. We played a lot together. He played. I think it was we were playing 6th or 7th edition. Where wood elves were a real pain in the ass. Because while we were all playing the rank and file, like you said, right, with the blocks, and you had pretty limited movement, but that was part of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
The entire Wood Elf army was just a skirmishing army that just did what it wanted, and it annoyed the hell out of me. So yeah, some really good memories, some frustrating memories of Wood Elves everywhere. So, but I really like the fact that people just said, well, we're just going to stay in, the last edition of fantasy and just continue to play that game. So I understand there's an entire community that kind of now upkeeps the game rules. Does it still, does the rules still change, or is it still the same 8th edition rules? What's going on there?
Well, it's a good question. And let me first say that, one elf is a big hassle, let alone a whole elf army around you, so I can feel your pain. But what is happening is that, and let me first say that I don't work or am a part of the Ninth Age team officially. There's a lot of people that are officially part of the team. That it kind of evolved into a whole structure because you had these, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys starting it, and then there were like a few hundred guys said, we want to help, and then there were a few thousand guys that said, we like this, we want to help. And I think the guys on top thought, oh, cool, that's nice, a lot of help, but how the hell are we going to structure that in a way that we won't disappoint everybody, and we can make good use of the knowledge? And that has been a very interesting process to see, because they actually overhauled their whole structure 1.5 years ago. So they initially started off with army book teams, and they said basically the guys who play the armies know the best what they like and know the best how to shape the army. So what they first did, they actually started out with a basic vanilla version, which was, well, more or less, it was very similar to Warhammer 8, they already implemented new units from the start, from day one, because they said, well, some armies just you had these Warhammer Special Edition characters and Special Edition units that weren't part of the main rules of Warhammer, but everybody loved because they were part of the campaign. And they just picked the most interesting ones they thought matched the army styles in the best way, and they implemented them. So you had these army book teams, but apparently there was some, well, you know how Warhammer had a little bit of a power creep syndrome sometimes when they developed new models.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they had to be strong because they had to sell them. So they had to have some special cool rules.
Usually the way, yeah.
Yeah, it's inevitable in some, you could say, but it's the same thing happened to the army team books, because they were like, it's like children in the candy store. They said, let's make this unit that can shoot everything at long range and hit it at a 3+, because we need that. Our army needs that. And so you had 16 of these teams for each faction, one team, and they had a lot of trouble maintaining the balance, and that was one of the prime goals of 9th Age, was have a fun game that has a lot of options, and especially tweaking options, upgrading everything. So when you look into a book of I'll just pick Orc and Goblins, like the army you started with, tons of options. You have you have the main 3 Orc races, and then you have the main 3 Goblin races. They're still there, and there's all kinds of synergies with the characters. So they wanted to keep that.
Yeah.
And but now I think they have a balanced team. First they have a unit creation team, an army creation team, and then they create units they think that fit the army. They're also very clear that each army has to have strength and weaknesses, which is nice. I think it fits the hobby. And
if I may interrupt you there, because that's a really interesting point to me you bring up there, that the army should have strengths and weaknesses. One of the things I find with 40k is that the game is now at a point where a lot of armies can what they call soup up, which means that a lot of different armies can team together, form one army. Usually that's because one certain army has a weakness, and players will look at that weakness and go, oh, well, I can just team up with another army that can, fill that weakness, so that the weakness just disappears. So I find it a very interesting point that, it's kind of like a key point for the 9th Age, that every army should have a strength and should have a weakness. Is the game very, in your opinion, very balanced right now?
It's absolutely very balanced, but a lot of people go, yeah, balance can be boring. That's what we hear a lot. That's totally not an issue here. I think what they wanted to do is, like Foot of Gork, good example. You probably also remember Purple Sun.
Yes.
Turn 1, if you roll well, you finish off half your opponent's army. That's one thing they said, we don't want that, because of course it's a dice game, and of course you can roll lucky or can roll very shitty. But it shouldn't be determined in turn 1 if you win the game. It's also a bit of a strategy game. So you should have luck, and you should have strategy. So they said take out the extreme elements, but keep in the fun, because you still have like the Gnasher Wrecking team. I think that's the old Mangler's Quake team, that is a random movement unit. If you land on it, you take 3d6 strength 6 hits. So you basically, your whole unit dissolves if you're unlucky.
The Mangler's Quake was horrendous.
Yeah, they're still there. So there's still a lot of cool stuff there. But balance has been amazing. I mean, basically it has been a 3-year struggle, some might say, or some really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people will miss the balancing phase, which is over now, because there's a stable set of rules that will remain stable for 5 to 10 years, which is what a lot of tournament organizations were asking for, because they said every 3 months you have these updates now. It's horrible. People cannot get used to it. Just tie down the rules. So that happened now, but the test phase was amazing. And what happens now is that you have 16 army books with
16. Are they really 16? I mean, I imagine you still are kind of with the creation limited to the models that exist. So are they 16 different races, or are they, say, one race who has 3 books that each go over a different faction of the race, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are actually 16, definitely 16 individual factions, but there are 3 elfen races and they have three books.
Yeah.
But they're totally standalone books. They don't have any. Well, they do have overlap. Like all elves have a low resilience, like a low toughness. But there's stuff like that. But like an Undying Dynasties book that falls apart into 2 books. Actually, and also the vampire counts. You can play a Lamia bloodline, or you can play a Strigoi bloodline, or so. These 16 books still fall into different books. So there are a lot of more armies you can take. But it's the 16 standalone books. Yeah.
I really like the fact that you say it's very much a community-driven game now, because there's a very large player base that makes up the rules, and I can imagine, like you said, that at the beginning, it's, as you said, kids in a candy store, and we can do anything we want, and after that, it progressed to a more balanced game. That's really cool to hear. All right, so that's really nice. So there's one more thing. So of course, Games Workshop makes new models every now and then. That's now for Age of Sigmar. Do you guys also incorporate like new models that are intended for Age of Sigmar? I'm looking at maybe the new trolls or what have you.
Yeah, that's a good question. The basic answer is no. We have these books now. So we tied down the rules are tied down. So we won't create. I think Ninth Age won't create new rules for each new unit they like. So, but what they will do is that each of the 16 books is getting a complete army overhaul, which and 2 are already done. So the Warriors of Chaos and Demon Legions. And that's the process where because the army books that currently exist are a product of the army book teams of the last 2.5 years. But they want to take it one step further, and that's what they're doing now with these books. And they take, I think, half a year, maybe a year for each book, or maybe a little bit quicker, I don't know. And they're gonna look at it from the bottoms up, and they're gonna they already defined the army strength and the army weaknesses, and they're going to redesign it. It doesn't have to be very shocking. I don't expect all books to be completely different. And one of the main attention points they have is that you can still use each model you have, which is very challenging for a redesigned team. Because it says a lot what you can and cannot design. And about models, one of the cool things, and I don't think that's completely Ninth Age related, but it's the years we're living in these days, is there are a lot of indie model makers actually.
Yes.
Do you know Avatars of War?
Oh yeah.
For example.
Yeah, they make great models.
They make great models, and you got Mom Miniatures, you got a lot of the little Spanish companies, and you got Mears. I think it's an English company. So it's you definitely have to be a little bit more creative if you want to build an army from the bottoms up. But it's doable. You can build a Chaos army without a single Games Workshop model. That's never the intention. I mean, the Games Workshop models are awesome. I love them. But you're not solely dependent on them anymore. So that's I think that's a healthy thing.
That's one of the freedoms you create when your games isn't really supported by Games Workshop anymore, and it's now pretty much the community's game. You get kind of freed from you have to use Games Workshop models. That's not to say that you shouldn't, because they still make great models, but you do get a little bit more freedom. So that's really awesome as well.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So the tournament that's upcoming, it's on the 25th and 26th of May, so it's a 2-day tournament. Tell me a little bit about that. What can people expect when they come to the tournament of the Ninth Age?
They can expect a whole lot of steel and combat, but it's
as you should.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically going to be a cool weekend of just gaming and awesomeness, and we hope to get 60 people there. I think we will get that, and there's going to be a lot of gamers in one place, so that by itself is very cool. What they can expect is 5 games of 3 hours at 4,500 points with any of the factions.
4,500.
Yeah.
Is that a lot? Because I'm used to 2,000.
Yeah, because we thought more models is better, so we just doubled.
Yeah.
And we said, no, just kidding. No, they doubled the points. That's a little bit
Okay,
of a
so that's part of the reorganization of the game
Yes.
structure. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Yes. The goblin now costs 10 points or something, and not 5
Absurd.
anymore.
Absurd.
Um,
Absurd.
So that's what they can expect. Cool terrain, awesome game mats, and I heard that CJ and the guys are already in the process of building fantasy. They also have a Age of Sigmar tournament, and that's awesome because we can share the terrain, and we see Age of Sigmar as a gateway to Ninth Age. So that's we.
That's
totally
very clever. Yeah.
And so you get, I think, to sum it up, you get 5 games, you get 2 lunches. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Yes.
And you get a goodie, and we get the prizes. So the third, second, and first best painted prizes. And
Now I do expect. I don't know the exact numbers, but prize support has gone up from the Alliance Open. It kind
Insane.
of depends on how many how many players there are. But last time at the Heroes and Heretics, which was our last 40K event, prize support was pretty good because if I remember correctly, it was around 40 euros for each prize, which is pretty good. So yeah, you can if you paint well, you can win a nifty prize.
Yeah.
And of course, if you end high enough, you win cool prizes as well.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Also by the shop, Tabletop Kingdom, I heard they chip in a fair amount of that, and that's really, really cool.
Yep. So you get a lot of support. That's always nice to get something back like that. So it's 5 games, 3 hours, which is pretty long. For games that are, I mean, it's a nice time to have because it allows you to
3 hours.
finish the games. Now, I know sometimes within the 40K tournaments, we know time is an issue. Is that the case with fantasy in your experience, or no? Is it?
Yeah, well, you have to. So time's definitely an issue. I myself actually wasn't a tournament player at all. I started playing tournaments when Ninth Age evolved, and I started playing at Bloodstorm over at Lars and Sander's tournaments, which was an awesome way to get to know the hobby.
Mhm.
And it was kind of a shocker. You really have to go for it. If you play at home, man, I take 5-6 hours, and sometimes we're not finished. So we're at 1 o'clock in the night, and we're oh shit, it's 1
Yeah.
o'clock. We have to work tomorrow. Let's wrap it up. But on the tournament, you have to just keep the pace, because you got 6 rounds each. So you got 12 rounds. You got 3 hours, so you can take, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes around, and that's it. And if you're taking way longer, then you should scratch your head. If you got a shooting mobile army with a lot of magic, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah,
So
because your army does something in every phase of the game. That's usually
every phase
yeah.
you have to measure. If you play Wood Elves, for example, like you said, you have to pre-measure everything. So I played a Demon of Change army on the 10mm scale for fun, because I was a mono dwarven player, and I thought, let's try something else. And I needed every minute I could get. But we see that a lot of people make it because they know they have 3 hours, and
That's usually you could really have a long discussion about how to finish a game, because it really is you play together. So
you play together. Yeah,
and
no chess box.
everybody's there to have fun, and everybody wants to finish the games, because it's not really fun if you only play like 3 turns. Some people feel cheated, but in general, it's just way more fun if you get to finish a game. So
Full 6, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Also, because the secondary objectives, they require 6 turns or so.
okay, yeah.
If you want to breach the opponent's zone, you have to play a couple of turns. Otherwise, you cannot even make it. So the game is based on 6 turns. But we'll hope that people. We have a big clock. That was a good initiative from Alliance Open, that we have the big clocks available, so people can turn around or turn their head and see how many time they have left. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, exactly. There's a constant time reminder, which does help because sometimes you just get lost in your thoughts and you don't really realize how fast time's going. And with a big clock being on the beamer and just the time being shouted out by organization, it really does help.
Yeah, yeah, because the hobby tends to pull you in, and that's the great thing about the game. It pulls you in a battle, and it's good to
Yeah.
hear the time sometimes.
The immersion.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to be at the Van der Valk Hotel. So let's talk a little bit about the venue and what comes. So the ticket, you can buy a ticket. I'm just looking at our alliancearmory.net website where you can buy a ticket for the Ninth Age Grand Tournament. You can buy a ticket for €65. Now,
Yeah.
we've had a little feedback. Sometimes people say, "Oh, that's a pretty price to pay for a tournament." Well. Yeah, but it's a 2-day tournament.
Yeah.
You get to play 5 rounds. If I'm not mistaken, it's 3 rounds on the first day, 2 rounds on the second day, followed by prizes and a wrap up, stuff like that. It comes with, for both days, a hot and cold lunch buffet.
Yeah.
Now, previous experiences from people told us that they were really excited about it, that it really was a good buffet. How did you experience the buffet?
Me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was organization. So when I went to lunch, they filled up all the bowls with the croquetjes and hot pieces of meat. So I stacked my plate full of meat, and I walked back to the gaming organization table.
Yeah.
But so I had a great lunch. But what happened to some other people was that, and that's something I think we learned from the beginning, is that 40K and Fantasy, they had a very small overlap. They were basically the first time they basically went into the hall together, and I heard the organization Van der Valk couldn't handle the peak.
Yeah, we had a little issue with that. So the
And
plates.
some people didn't get any meat, and I heard that you told me that there was a solution for that now. Can you tell me?
Yeah. So we had the same feedback that the buffet in itself is really great. A lot of choices. It's hot and cold. You've got your salad. You've got broodjes, so bread, stuff like that. All kinds of beleg.
Fishes.
Things to put. Yeah. You've got fish. You've got, I don't know. Doesn't matter what kind of eater you are. There's something there for you, and it's of good quality. It's really tasty.
Yeah.
But some of the feedback we had was at the peak of the lunch, some things would just run out, and which was a shame. It wasn't like all of it ran out, just some things. But we made a difference. So we moved. Previously, we would have the buffet in a hall next to the hall where we played in, and then they make the buffet there. But now we moved the buffet up to the Van der Valk restaurant part. Where you can sit. Yeah, so there's an entire section just reserved for the players. That's basically half of the restaurant reserved, and there you have the hot and cold buffet now. And we increased the time to 45 minutes to have a more spread out, so not so much an overlap between both all the tournament players from different tournaments. So make sure that the buffet, all the options for food is still there, and stuff doesn't run out. And also it's really more relaxed, because I was with the Heroes and Heretics tournament last time. That was the first time we implemented that, and it was really relaxed. You could just sit there. It was comfortable. You could just. It was more spacious.
Get some daylight in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very
Don't
good.
feel like such an outcast. And no, overall, exactly. It was really great. That worked out so much better than last time. So that's an improvement as well.
That's what we're going to do in May also then.
Yes. It's a thing that's just going to be from now on. It's going to be in the restaurant. We expect people. Awesome. People should be really pleased with that. So what else will you get for your buck? You can stay at the hotel itself, so it's in the Van der Valk Hotel for people that are flying in. It's near Schiphol, so you can just land in Schiphol, and you can take a free shuttle. It's free, and it stops right at the hotel, so it's really easy access. You can stay in the hotel. I don't. The hotel itself is really pretty luxurious for a pretty good price, in my opinion. I believe one overnight stay with a buffet breakfast is 70 euros, around that, if I am not mistaken. You can share the room, so that's pretty much a two-person room. I believe it's 90. Sorry, I misspoke. I believe it's 90 for an overnight stay.
Yeah, and it gets cheaper the more people you get. So if you can get 4 people, you pay the best price. You pay like 35 euros each.
Yes. So it's 35. Yeah, exactly. So if you put, you've got those bigger rooms, and they get a little cheaper. That's right. So actually, for a fair price, you can just you can arrive the first day. You can overnight stay. You have a very nice lunch. Lots of choice. Very good quality. Everything. You get to play your games. You have 3 games. Then you have your lunch, and then 3 games end, and you can just lounge in the hotel. And there's also a restaurant. Opposite of the hotel, there's like a big sort of.
Are you calling the Burger King a restaurant now?
No, there is a restaurant, because there is a Burger King isn't bad,
I know.
Burger King. Then there's Famous Mr. Chicken. But there is an actual restaurant, like a barbecue restaurant, a grill restaurant
above the highway. It's true.
Yeah.
And if you wanna do something else, then I think we're gaming until 8:39ish maybe. You can go into Amsterdam. You take the same shuttle bus, take a train. I mean, it's for the cowboys. If you want to, why not?
Absolutely right. I mean, I heard you talk before we started. We had a little chit chat. You said like a lot of people also go to Germany. You said for tournaments, because they also like the trip out to Germany as not just a tournament, but just a trip as well, like a small little vacation. You can do that with Amsterdam as well. I mean, Amsterdam is a great place to also just go out into the city and see some stuff. And there's a lot to see. You can also go to a restaurant there, or just walk through the city. It's a great city. So it's not just not just a tournament. It's really a event, and there's a lot to do around it. You can also just stay on the hotel. You can hang out at the bar, or after we've got our after hours. The hall, the tournament hall will remain open. You can still play some games if you still want to.
That's cool.
You can. We have our setup usually. It starts on Saturday, so usually we have our setup on Friday. You can at Friday night arrive and also play a few games. So the whole, after we set up and everything's done, people can come in and play a game.
Little open game.
Exactly. Just a little hangout, or get yourself ready for the next day. Stuff like that. So really, there's a lot to do, and in my experience, everybody's really friendly, and everybody just talks their hobby, and it's really easy going.
That's what we noticed during the first 2 tournaments of 9th HL Alliance Open. Something we found very important is that it has to be competitive, because there was a lot of demand for cheese-heavy tournaments. Like, you can play any list you want, as hard as you want, as long as you play it elegantly. As long as you. So and that worked perfectly 2 times. We had no incidents. They play like gentlemen. So when you roll the dice, you roll the dice where your opponent can see them in plain sight. You take away the dice that didn't make it. You leave on the table. And that went very well. We walked around a lot. We got a lot of questions, but the atmosphere was good. We didn't see any real animosity, only on the board.
Only with orcs and goblins.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that we think is important and that also I think that works well, and the whole community basically has that same attitude. So that's really cool.
No, it's always been a thing, right? With tournaments where people fear that it's like a threshold for people not to come, because they fear that they'll only face whack players, which means win at all costs. And it's never the case. I've never seen that. I've attended a lot of tournaments outside of Alliance Open as well, but especially.
That's also because you're a very nice guy. I mean, you're hard to get angry at.
That's very true. If you're easygoing yourself, other people tend to mellow down as well. But look,
Yeah.
of course, it's a tournament. So, in my honest opinion, you can play a tournament however you like. If you want to bring an army that's built to win, that's what a tournament, in my opinion, again, is kind of for. If you want to bring a more easygoing army, that's fine as well. And the beauty of it is, if you're an easygoing kind of guy, you just want to roll some dice and have fun, and you bring your army that's not really geared to win, and then it's always possible you face a player that does want to win, and then it's possible that you'll suffer like a hard loss, as long as the guy is just nice, is easy, is just nice about it, and then he doesn't behave like a dick. I've never seen that before, but then it's no biggie, because guess what? Next round you'll get paired. You get probably paired with someone who is the same as you, as a bit more easygoing army, and you'll have a much more enjoying battle, right? Because the armies are more evenly matched. Yeah. I've always had it, because I've had tournaments where I brought a hardcore army, and I ended up more at the top, where you'll face equal quote unquote hardcore armies, and I've also had tournaments where I had more casual armies, and then I ended up in a little bit more lower bracket against casual armies, right? So in my opinion, it always pans out. I always have a nice time, as long as, like you said, people just behave and are friendly and are courteous about it.
Yeah, that's
fine.
What I've seen so far is that everybody understands they're playing a game, and you play a game with two people. So as long as you're playing that game, you can play it however you want. Of course, you want to win, but as long as you understand it's a game, and you have a code of conduct, and so far that has worked perfectly. And yes, of course, you have these matches that are very tight at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But all in good fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
You had the. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that's maybe a separate discussion for another time. I was gonna say, if someone is being less than friendly, just say something about it, because usually I did have a few experiences with someone where I thought I felt like someone wasn't being that friendly, and I said, look, hey, you look a little frustrated, and you're acting a little frustrated. For me, it's just I come here with you, and he said like, oh really? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just being very concentrated and really focused on the game, and I didn't mean to be frustrated or treat you like that at all. And after that, the mood really just improved. So whenever you're experiencing that, just say, just talk out and say, look, I'm here to have a good time. I'm sensing that you're being a little frustrated or are being overly competitive in the way that I feel mistreated. Could you, and then 9 out of 10 times, really, 9 out of 10 times, people will apologize. They usually don't even know they're doing it themselves, and they will immediately relax and cool down. And there's always a chance that there's this one dickhead that won't, but then in those cases you could still call like a judge, and we also have enforcement for those things as well.
Yeah, we have a judge, and we have a very clear and strict system for that, and we'll handle that if you can. But solve it yourself. If you can't, that's what we're there for. So,
exactly.
It's not like we enjoy doing that, but we will do it if we have to, and that's easy.
Yeah, and it's good that it's there. But I've never at our Alliance Open tournaments of any kind, so 40K, be it the 9th Age, be it all the others we did, I never heard or experienced myself someone being a complete and utter dick and just ruining everybody's lives, because I've only heard positive stories.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore a lot. That's a good development, don't you think? It's,
I really like it, but still, still the image of the tournament whack player ruining it for everyone persists, and that's what I find so funny.
Yeah, it's funny, and you still hear these incidents now and then, but mainly international, not in Holland, but there was this guy apparently at this UK tournament, and they filmed the whole thing, and when they replayed the movie, he had like 5 horrible cheats where he just turned dice and stuff. So it still happens, but luckily not here. Can I still say something about the core tournament point winning mechanics?
Yes, of course, please.
Okay, we had so what we do is you can get 20 battle points for each army, so you get 100 points, 5 battles.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically evolved our painting score system from the first tournament. The first tournament we said, well, all your models have to be painted. There's no painting scores. There will be a best painted competition, which we had, which was fun. The only thing we learned then is that there were commission painted armies in the final selection. We didn't know. We didn't think about it. It was out of our sight. And we got a lot of good, positive feedback from people said that's not really in the spirit of the game. And we said, well, we agree. So what we changed now is that we will evaluate all the armies for painting scores. There will be painting scores up to 20 points. So you can expand from a perfect tournament 100 points to 120 if you did your painting well. We split that up into basic painting, 3-color painting, basis painting, so your base plate, if that's worked up, and conversions. So there are 3 subcategories. The 20 points are divided in. And besides that, we still have a best painted competition. And we will probably select 5 armies. And the people can vote on them, which is the winning army. And there's a prize attached to that last competition.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that sounds great. So, way to receive some feedback and just make improvement, because feedback, we always ask for feedback as well. It's not a negative thing. So you can be a little critical. That's all fine. But we really want to hear from people like, well, how did you experience it? What went well and what didn't went so well? So we can, wherever we can, make improvements. That's really great. So wrapping it up just a little bit right now. The tournament's going to be once again the 25th through the 26th of May. It's going to be at the Van der Valk Hotel. You can find information about the event at the Alliance Open / the 9th Age Dutch Grand Tournament. The rules pack is going to be on there as well. It isn't on there right now. Do you know when it's going to be on there?
I will ask the organization. I think there was one question they wanted to ask Van der Valk before uploading it, but I think it will be uploaded. It can probably be uploaded this weekend. Yeah.
Okay. So if not this week, then next week. So real soon.
Yeah.
Tickets you can buy at the alliancearmory.net. You can find a lot of stuff there on by. To do a quick plug, we have a store there. You can buy the terrain we make ourselves. You can buy there as well. It's really great. It's for 40k and for fantasy. We've got lots of other stuff, tickets for other events. If you're not into the 9th Age, that's fine. It's really cool. But we have other events as well, like Warhammer Underworlds, Kill Team, stuff like that. So the community, that I wanted to give you guys a quick plug as well. What's the website for your community?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. We have www.the9thage.com, and the 9th Age is written out, so no numbers but all letters. And there's these little lying stripes.
I think they're called hyphens. I don't know.
Okay, the ones in the middle. The ones in the middle.
Yes.
They're between the and 9th and Age, and that's the community website. I think we have there are about 13,000 members. It's an active forum. There are sub forums for each faction, which go into a lot of detail about what is the best unit and what to do with it when. But there's also your basic free rules at the downloads tab, and there's a lot of extra fun information like special terrain packs, special scenery, and special objective packs. And we're actually thinking about this tournament about taking the 3 regular scenarios and objectives and 2 special ones from the books, and they will be announced way before the tournament, of course.
Cool.
And implemented. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. New stuff, always fun and exciting.
Isn't
All
it?
right.
Yeah.
So are there any last things you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
No, we're gonna make a great tournament out of it, and we're going to work hard, and I hope to see you all there.
Exactly. I really look forward to this as well. I will be coming over a lot and looking, because fantasy still has a special place in my heart. So I will be there, but I will be checking out a lot of the armies as well. So
Cool, man.
All right, Joris, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
And I'll see you the 25th.
Yeah, see you there, man. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to the second episode of our podcast. Definitely tune in next time, where we'll recap the Feast of Blades and the results for the No Surrender Tournament 40k. We'll of course also talk about upcoming events after the 30th of March and keep you informed about all things Alliance Open in general. I would also like to mention that if there are any tournament or event organizers out there that would like to get a little bit of coverage for their event, definitely feel free to come talk to us on the podcast. You can do that by contacting us on the Facebook page Alliance Open, and we'll get in touch because we're always glad to help grow the community. Finally, I'd like to mention that this podcast will be going up on our Facebook page as usual, but I'll also be uploading it on our YouTube page Alliance Open, where you can go listen to all our episodes and watch all our videos we make at your leisure. Alright guys, I'll see you next time for the 3rd episode of our podcast. See you then.